We're going on now to Ben.
Yes,
Hello.
how y'all doing?
Hi.
Good.
And that show where they were saying that that a baby, an unborn baby, they labeled it fetus, so they won't call it a baby when that knife is stuck behind his head.
Do you think there is an actual difference between the clump of cells that exists at the moment after conception and a 1-year-old toddler?
No, it's going to be a 1-year-old toddler if you leave it alone. If you leave it alone, it's going to be a 1-year-old pretty soon.
Okay,
if you use that logic, then you're going to say that if you leave it alone, it's eventually going to die anyway.
No. I mean, it's in the womb. It's going to develop, and after birth, and after birth, it'll reach a 1 year.
Well, sure, and eventually it's going to grow old and die. So what's the difference now between if you kill it when it's 1 day old embryo, or if you just leave it alone to grow old and die?
All right. So do you think that a woman who has an abortion should receive the death penalty, for instance?
Well, I don't know about that. It's society to choose.
Well, suppose you were the judge. Suppose you were up there, you have a woman who had an abortion. Would you recommend the death penalty?
Oh, me? No, I don't know about that.
Okay, what if you had a woman who killed her 1-year-old child?
Yeah.
So there is a difference.
I don't know that. I would have to think of what's going on. What happened to her.
Okay, so it depends on the circumstances, not on the baby.
And the unborn baby, it needs to be born first before it can make it on its own. And when somebody else does the killing, the murdering.
Actually, a baby has to go a lot farther than just be born in order to be able to make it on its own.
That's true.
Yeah, it gets born. To killing babies like that, there's consequences on that show. They were saying that, right now Social Security is going to be in trouble pretty soon. Where at one time there were 21.7, I think, employees per worker, per retiree.
So
and
let me just make sure I'm understanding
retire,
you correctly. Are you saying that your solution to the Social Security problem is just to keep having more and more and more kids? So
no,
just like a pyramid scam or something.
Instead of killing off the workers, that's what that baby's going to be. It's going to be a worker.
How is that different from what I just said?
What was that?
How is that different from what I just said?
I didn't hear your statement.
But the thing is, those babies are going to be workers for a little while, but the more of them you have, the more retired seniors they're going to be. And that's just going to...
they're going to live even longer by the time they retire.
That's going to worsen the Social Security problem, not improve it.
It's going to be through... All them babies that were killed weren't killed in 1 year. It's been over, 35 or 40 years, how long... it started as the mass murder.
I've got one last question, but then we're going to have to move on because we're running out of time on the show.
Yeah.
Do you think that my decision to have a vasectomy was murder?
No.
But if I hadn't had a vasectomy, then I could have had a lot more babies, right?
No, hold on.
You're contributing to the Social Security problem.
You made a responsible. In my opinion, you made a responsible move to...
But by doing that move, I prevented babies from being born, and they could have grown up to be 1-year-olds and then workers and then retirees, right?
But you see, that baby was never... it was never at the point of conception where you...
So what?
You contributed that ingredient to make a baby. So you didn't murder a baby.
Yeah, and by the same token, an aborted fetus was never at the point of birth.
Do you know why Bush right now is allowing a lot of immigrants to get legalized workers? Because those workers are taking the place of a lot of those babies that got murdered in
I find that really hard to believe that it's his rationale, and I'd love to discuss it with you further. Maybe you can write me by email, but
just take a look at the big picture.
6 minutes left on the show. I'm sorry. Please email us.
Just take a look at the big picture and arrive at a conclusion.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call.
Thank you.
More than 10,600 children said they were molested by priests since 1950.
Let that number sink in.
Yes, 10,600 children.
That's the number that came forward.
Yeah.
Exactly.